Perfect. I don't know. That's not my expertise. I'm not an expertise at finding and hiring managers. So shut the fuck up when I'm actually speaking about the problem. If you don't know, let the person who knows talk. Fucking bozo. I hate people like that. You just want to shut down all conversations. Okay, then don't watch YouTube. Why are you watching YouTube? Why are you watching YouTube? There are plenty of channels out there for you. Redmond TV is around the corner. Go to Redmond TV. Fuck off. Go watch them. Prick. Khalas, go watch them. Leave me the fuck alone. I will always continue to criticize whenever I have to criticize, and I will continue to speak on the club whenever the fuck I want to speak on the club. Okay? Since you don't know, let the person who knows speak. People like you are the problem at Liverpool Football Club because you want to keep shutting down conversations and shutting down conversations and shutting down conversations. Let us talk. The market's crap, Leighton. You stupid fuck. The problem is not me or Edwards. The problem is the market. You get it? You want to buy a car, Leighton. I am not a car expert, but there's 10 shit cars in the market. I'm going to tell you, don't buy a car. It's very simple, Leighton. Do you get it now? Do you understand? It has nothing to do with field of expertise. I'm a chemical engineer. I have nothing to do with cars. If I have 10 shit cars available for sale, I'll tell you know what, Leighton? There are 10 shit cars available for sale. Wait till you get another car. You get me? That's what I'll tell you. I am not a fucking expert, but I'll just say that.
Sorry, man. I just had to like throw that in there. I know it's got absolutely nothing to do with today's stream, but when we get a meltdown like that, chat, I feel it is my duty and responsibility to show the people that, because some of you guys might not have seen that. Some of you guys might not be on Twitter.
I haven't.
Some of you guys might you've not seen it. It's my responsibility, bro. It is to show the people the meltdown which is currently happening with Liverpool fans. And by the way, this is very real, yeah. Yeah, this is very real because I was on Twitter today, right? Liverpool fans, they could be entering their toxic era because they are a lot. Yeah, serious, man. They are starting to disagree with each other. Apparently, this Arne Slot guy, I never heard of him, to be honest.
The Feyenoord guy, yeah.
Apparently, the Feyenoord guy is going to become the manager. He's now the favorite, but like it's a madness, bro. And they are arguing with each other hard, bro. Who is this guy? Yeah, he's managed Feyenoord. Before that, AZ Alkmaar. Before that, that's it. So he's only had 2 jobs.
Sounds like a BTEC Ten Hag, I reckon.
He's won 1 trophy in his career in them 2 jobs. He's 45 as well. He's not exactly like pure young. Like he's young, obviously, but like he's not like he's in his 30s. So that's a bit of a madness. But yeah, apparently he's the favorite. So it's popping off. It's crazy. So yeah, it's insane. But sorry, I just throw that out there. It's got nothing to do with the stream. This isn't a Liverpool channel. This isn't a Liverpool stream, but I had to throw it in there. Anyway, we're in the final, bro. We're in the final, man. Crazy, really, wasn't it? I mean, the team lineup that Pep Guardiola put out, I didn't think anyone seen him put out a lineup that strong. He obviously moaned about the scheduling afterwards, which a lot of people on Twitter, as always, have completely missed the point of what Pep Guardiola was mentioning. You know, Pep moaned about the fact that City played on Saturday and not Sunday, to which you got all the people on Twitter just saying, you got a £1 billion squad, stop moaning about it. No. You've missed the point yet again. You know what I mean? Because people don't actually listen. People don't actually read stuff, as I always say. He's not moaning. He's saying, why didn't he play on the Sunday? It should have been played on the Sunday. Obviously, it was due to TV situation, but he's right to moan about that. And he said, and Alan Shearer, fairly, I felt, questioned him on it and said, well, why, you're moaning about it. Why didn't you swap the team around? He said, well, I did that 3 years ago and we were 3-0 down against Liverpool. So, he answered it correctly. It was a valid question from Alan Shearer, I thought. Valid question. But Pep answered it and said, well, I could have done that, but I did that against Liverpool 3 years ago. We got battered, which we did get battered. We're 3-0 down at half time. So it's the question is now, do we have enough time to recover? Because we did look knackered. I mean, how the players managed to win that game, I honestly don't know, because they dug in deep. You know what I mean? And yes, we got a little bit maybe fortunate in the first half with Nicholas Jackson, thankfully not putting the ball in the back of the net. But they dug in deep, Nobbins. And now, of course, we've got 4 days off. hopefully the players are using that wisely and are not going out getting absolutely steaming and staying up till God knows what time in the morning. But yeah, hopefully the players are. Do you think 4 days now is enough to recover for the Brighton game?
Well, I mean, it's going to have to be, isn't it? You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? It is a nice gap. I know that Pep said, like I had to play all these players because others might lose, but I still think there could have been some room for rotation. I was still very surprised. Like Doku didn't start, Bob didn't start, Lewis didn't start, and I was surprised that all three of Rodri, De Bruyne, and Foden did all start. I think that maybe I'm just trying to think of the actual game itself with Brighton. I guess the strategy would be if we can create a game where we have the majority of the ball, then it's not going to be as much of an issue. But an issue with that is that in recent years, I feel like Brighton have actually had more of the ball than us. And if you have the ball less, it actually means that you're going to have to run around more. Apparently, and I was just going to say, like, LB was actually in my stream earlier, and he told me about the injuries. He's just super chatted saying about the injuries. So maybe it's, I mean, it's obviously a better situation than playing like Spurs away, for example. But if Brighton are up for it, then there would be the risk of them having more of the ball than us. And again, that means we have to work a bit harder. But hopefully, because of their injury situation, that's not actually the case.
Yeah. I'm looking at Brighton's I'm looking at Brighton's injuries right now. I'll share them on screen. They have got quite a few. So Sonny March is out. This guy's out. Mitoma is still out. Webster.
That's big, Mitoma.
Yeah, he's not back until pretty much the end of the season.
Yeah, brilliant. Sorry, Mitoma, but
that's all right. This the Webster guy probably not going to be back either. James Milner not going to be back.
Yeah.
Gilmore probably not going to be back either.
No. Evan Ferguson.
Oh,
no, Estepinian. That is massive too. I didn't realize their injury situation was that bad.
Yeah, Lamptey not at Espinola out. So yeah, I mean, I watched the game. I don't know if you watched it. The game against Arsenal and Arsenal battered them really. You know what I mean? Arsenal could have been 5 or 6-0 up, but yeah, I mean, to be fair, I kind of get what Pep Guardiola's saying. You know what I mean? Like, you can talk about rotation, and maybe he could have rotated one player or two players, but ultimately he wanted to win. I think as well, because we've just been knocked out against Real Madrid. You know, if we would have got knocked out against Chelsea, it would have been such a negative. I know we're still in like the prime situation for the Premier League, and that would be great if we won the Prem. But like, if you get, like, no one can deny, if you get knocked out of 2 trophies in the space of 4 days, like, that is super negative. Everyone's going to be down. So I just feel that like Pep was forced into this almost, and ended up playing. And I've got to say, I genuinely feel that, you know, the players dug in very, very deep. I never for 1 minute expected a top performance. I said that before the game. So you ain't going to get scintillating football. Just get me a win. And I love how Bernardo Silva was the guy who scored the goal. You know, a couple of days earlier, the villain, I guess people say, he missed the penalty, poor penalty as well. And then he steps up and scores the goal, you know, slamming the badge on his chest. You know what I mean? That's an amazing situation. And he's got us to the final. But, you know, I honestly felt that like the players just dug deep so much. You could see on the pitch that they were just, they had no energy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope this 4-day period where they're able to get maximum sort of recovery, because as the title of the stream is, we need to win 7 out of 7. Now, people will say, nah, we don't need to win 7 out of 7 because Liverpool and Arsenal will drop points. Until they drop points, we need to win 7 out of 7. Obviously, it's 6 out of 6, but I'm talking FA Cup as well. I want to win the double. So whilst I believe that Liverpool and Arsenal are likely to drop points in their next games before the end of the season, until that happens, we can only target 6 wins out of 6 in the Premier League. Like, to approach it any differently, in my opinion, is super silly and super risky, bro. And now the question is, we go to this Brighton game, again away from home. Are we going to be recovered? You know, I think Doku probably starts the game, bro, because I'm surprised he didn't start the game against Chelsea. He come on again and played really well, so he's going to get a big game. Don't be surprised maybe to see Oscar Bob. People will say no chance, but he started a big game in the past. Was it Brentford? He started there, something like that. So, you know, this game against Brighton now, for me, these next 2 games, Brighton and Notts Forest at the weekend, they're the biggest games now for the season, because if we win those 2, I think like we are in a very, very good position.
Yeah, massive, and also obviously like we're now behind Arsenal and Liverpool in terms of the league table, not in terms of and indeed in terms of games played. So we need to get our points on the board. Maybe like the main reason why Pep was so desperate to put in such a strong team. I do still think there could have been some rotation, but maybe it was also a point of like the players would have. I'm sure the players would have been desperate to play after that really disappointing result against Real Madrid. So this was like Pep's way of saying, right, you've now got the opportunity to like to prove, you know, that you do deserve to stay in this cup competition. And I think like for a player like Bernardo Silva in particular, who unfortunately missed his penalty, but then he's now hopefully be given a massive mental and morale boost by getting the winner in an FA Cup semi-final. So I think that for their own sake, for their own mental fortitude and their own morale, they had to get the win. So I guess maybe Pep was like, right, I'm going to put us into the best situation where we can do that. There you go. You know, prove that we shouldn't get knocked out of two competitions in 1 week. That's it. And ultimately, that's what happened. Can't fault the effort. Can't fault the commitment by the players. It was brilliant. And yeah, you'd like to think now that a few days rest, the injury situation, which I didn't realize was that good. No people told me about the injuries. Didn't realize it was that bad from a Brighton perspective. You'd like to think that it would be not an easy game, but relatively favourable. Even Forest last season, I know we drew them, but we absolutely battered Forest last season. Like 1-0 was the most ridiculous. It should have been like 5-0. It was ridiculous that game. So hopefully it can be a similar. I know they are fighting for their lives, so it won't be that easy. But yeah, two. This would be not only 2 away wins, but not only 2 wins, but 2 away wins as well. That would be big.
I would also say as well on the rest situation, Gvardiol didn't play. John Stones only played 45 minutes because he was throwing up. Diaz therefore only played 45 minutes. So you know, I would imagine, that Gvardiol will come back in for the game at Brighton. I would imagine that Diaz comes back in for the game at Brighton. John Stones is fully fit and available. Akanji played the full 90 minutes, but you know, he can play as well. Jack Grealish was taken off after the hour mark, so he, you know, hopefully he's fine. The main ones really is obviously Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne. You know, neither of those 2 players got subbed off against Chelsea. Rodri as well. Haaland, it'll be interesting to see because, of course, he did get a rest because he was injured, but I don't know if he's going to be back for the Brighton game. Pep Guardiola said before the Chelsea match that he's not sure if he's going to be available for the Brighton game, but if he is, he's obviously had a bit of a rest as well because people forget that when you're injured, you're also resting. So that's it's just obviously the 3 main ones really is the Rodri, Phil Foden, and Kevin De Bruyne one. But you know, you'd like to think now with these 4 days of rest, you know, they'll come back into that game at Brighton and be able to put in a performance. Because if we can get through these next 2 games, then we've got a week until our next match. Because I'm pretty sure we don't have a match next week. You know, during the week. So if we can get these next 2 games are tough because we play Thursday, Sunday. You know, that's tough. You know what I mean? You know, Friday, Saturday rest, and then you play again. But if we can get through them, then we've got a week until our next game. And then by the time we play Spurs, I'm hoping, based on the fixtures, that Liverpool and Arsenal have already dropped to points because they play difficult games. Obviously, Arsenal have got Spurs this weekend. They've got Chelsea tomorrow. Hopefully, they'll drop points in one of those. If they do, and we handle our business in these next 2 games, you could potentially afford to lose or drop points to Spurs away. So that's why I'm kind of not even thinking about Spurs at the moment. I'm just thinking about the next game, and I'm kind of thinking about Forest as well, although I said I wouldn't do that, because these next 2 games for me, like, you got to win them. And if you win them, I just think that puts us in such a good position.
Yeah, well, 100%. Yeah. We need to do our utmost to, as they say, you know, put pressure on our rivals who, not trying to stir shit, but have, or certainly based on Arsenal's last season, are known to capitulate when it comes to crunch time. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say. They have prior for it. When the pressure gets too much, history tells us that they crumble. So putting them under that pressure is absolutely crucial, absolutely key. We can't. What we must not do is blink first. we must wait for them to drop points before we even entertain any idea of going, well, we can maybe get away with a draw here, maybe that. We've got to make sure they blink first. The only way we can do that is by putting ourselves into a situation, the strongest situation we can possibly do. And that is, as we discussed, is by at least winning the next 2 in a row, and then taking it from there. And as I say, hopefully, Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal have some less favourable fixtures coming up. Hopefully there's, even if it's just a draw, 2 points in this title race is mental. That is massive. That is a massive gulf that could potentially be created. At this stage in the season, they've only got 6 games left. I think they've only got 5 games left. We've got 6. So even 2 points at this stage is suddenly 2 points becomes an insurmountable mountain to climb, bar some sort of ridiculous Man City fall off, which would be very surprising to see.
Yeah, no, exactly. I agree. Keep your comments coming in, guys. We're gonna take a lot of your comments today. Big up to Off Meta says, do you worry about winning experience? Do you worry about winning experience when we could lose Gundogan, Mahrez, Bernardo, Walker in 12 months? This is why I want. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I think you do have to worry about it a little bit. It depends on who you replace them with. So, Kovacic for me is, he's a big game player. I think he brings a lot of experience at the top level. He's played for Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Chelsea. He's gone far with his international career as well, and done decent there. So he's got over 100 caps. So I think he brought it in a little bit. Obviously, Doku's new, Gvardiol's new. So neither of them two really have it. I think this summer, I'd like to see us get someone experienced, someone who's done it at the top level. Kimmich would be my we spoke about it today. I'm not going to go through it all over again, but if you want to see what my thoughts on that is, go and watch this morning's stream. Kimmich for me is the one that I would go and get because, he's cheaper than Bruno at Newcastle and he brings what you're asking for, mate. He brings that experience. He's won everything that you can win in the game. You know what I mean? He's won it all. So that for me is just an absolutely no-brainer. Is what I would say on that one. Big up to LB as well, says Brighton are full of injuries and are on da beach. Says, yeah, they have injuries. They didn't play particularly well against Arsenal, hoping that they do it. But of course, De Zerbi potentially is looking for a new job, a step up in his career. So he's not going to want to get battered, mate. You know what I mean? He's going to want to put his team out there, and he's going to want them to try and do something. So I'm not looking at this particularly and going, oh, this is going to be like an easy win. Like if we go out there and do our business, we should be able to get the win. But there's a couple of unknown factors. One, how tired and that are we going to be in the game? Are we going to have enough recovery? Because we do look knackered at the moment. And two, how much can De Zerbi get these players motivated? Yeah, because like I say, he's been linked with all sorts of jobs at the moment. I think he was favourite at one point for the Bayern Munich job today.
Really?
He was favourite for the Bayern Munich job today. So he's going to want to put in a good performance, and getting battered 4-5-6-0 off City is not the great way. It's not particularly great way of doing that. In terms of the game on Thursday, bro, how much rotation do you think we'll see? Do you think he'll go the same again? Do you think Gvardiol will come back in? Do you think Diaz will come back in? And what are your thoughts on Doku? Because I think Doku recently has been mint. He come off the bench again and was class. He was great against Real Madrid, great against Chelsea. I think he should start this game. And I think it's a big game for Jeremy Doku. I said the other day, people are starting to talk about him being this impact player off the bench. A couple of people misunderstood what I'm saying. And a couple of people said, well, that's not a problem. He can be an impact player off the bench. Yeah. For a club, it's fine. But he doesn't want to be known as an impact sub. He wants to be starting football matches. So I genuinely think this game for Doku, mate, is actually massive.
I think he deserves a start. I think that's fair to say. He's come on now in 2 big games. Real Madrid, massive game, quarterfinal, changed the game in our favour. Ultimately created the goal, ultimately created a number of other chances, half chances. Came on against Chelsea. And it's just so lovely to see the developments in his game so quickly. Because if you cast your mind back to the Chelsea games that we've had this season, I think he started the one at Stamford Bridge, or maybe not. But either way, he came up against Reece James and Gusto. The first game, Reece James, second game, Gusto. And outside of a couple of brief moments, he looked lost. He looked like he didn't quite know what he was doing. He didn't look comfortable. He didn't seem confident either in either fixture. So to see him come against Chelsea in particular and do Gusto a number of times, who's been brilliant this season, by the way, as Gusto, that was fantastic. To do it the same for Real Madrid off that left side as well, which is trickier for him to do. I think his game's a bit more easier to do on the right, but to do off the left is really good to see. I think he deserves a start. Even like if we didn't have any like concerns over fitness, etc. I think that Doku should. He's warranted a start. I think he deserves a start. Especially given Brighton's injury situation. The defense you read out earlier looked really nice, so it's not going to be like it's not going to be like a weak defense by any means. Like Gvardiol, Stones, etc. The only question mark becomes: do you rest one of De Bruyne or Foden? I think maybe I wouldn't be surprised if we saw De Bruyne on the bench. I think I can maybe see that.
I actually agree with that because he's played a lot of football, and you know, we need to. And I know we do the one game at a time thing, and I like it. I like the one game at a time thing. But the one game at a time thing, you just play Foden and Kevin De Bruyne. And is that really a smart thing to do when you've got to play Thursday with Kevin De Bruyne already knackered? Like the question I'm looking at: can we get through Thursday without Kevin De Bruyne? Because if the answer is yes, rest him.
Yes.
And then he's basically not played a game since Saturday until next Sunday. This Sunday coming up. So he's had a whole week to recover. So then you say, right, just go and get me a win on Thursday without Kevin De Bruyne. I think the team should be capable of doing that. Yeah, if you look at Foden, you look at Doku, you look at whoever else plays in that attacking line. And I don't know if Haaland or Alvarez is going to start. You can start on both potentially. Like, surely that's enough to get you through the Brighton game. And if it is, because at this point, by the way, goal difference is irrelevant at this point. It's irrelevant because if we win all our games, who cares about goal difference? I don't think about goal difference no more. I mean, I'd like to. I still think like if you get an opportunity where you're 3-0 up, 4-0 up by half time or whatever it is, then you go and cook. You know what I mean? I think it's better to do it than not. But like, it's not at the forefront. My forefront is just win the football match. And if you can win the game against Brighton and save Kevin De Bruyne for the Forest game, Forest is away from home as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that could be tough. Obviously, they're fighting to stay in the division as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a fresh Kevin De Bruyne on Sunday against Forest. I just look at that, bro, and say, I just think that's a no-brainer. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah, and you can always still have him on the bench. Like we've seen what a ridiculous impact he can have coming off the bench if you so need him. You'd like to think that if he gets to sort of like the 70th minute against this injury-ridden Brighton side, we've already got the job done. But if it's like still, if it's still level, then there's still the option for him to come on for like 20 to 30 minutes and still impact the game like that, but still get a little bit of a rest. But it gives you the option, doesn't it, of trying to rest him. Hopefully the rest of the team can do the job. But if they can't, then you've still got that option. Nevertheless, in an ideal world, we wouldn't need him, but it's always good to have the option. Yeah, I think that's fine. The only one that we can't afford to rest is Rodri. Sadly, that just can't happen. He now. The only situations he can now get any rest is if we are winning like 5-0 in it's like the 60th minute, and then you can take him off. Outside of any other situation, he must start every single game from now until the end of the season. Sadly,
I agree. I think you have to play him. I would be prepared to risk it a little bit lower than 5-0, like you. I would pretend. Well, it depends on the opposition.
I was being exaggerating, but yeah. A big lead.
Well, some people wouldn't be, bro. That's why I said it like that, because I thought you'd be serious. A lot of people probably would say that.
2's not enough. Maybe 3. 3 is the lowest. I'll accept 3-0.
Okay.
But ideally 4.
Yeah. Nah, but that's the reason I thought you'd be serious, because probably a lot of people are serious. Yeah, Danny says, rest Haaland, not KDB. You always need him, not in 2 matches, but now before it's over. The problem is, though, Danny, like, Kevin De Bruyne is so important to this team that, like, would you rather have Kevin De Bruyne play 2 games where he's knackered, or play 1 game where he's super fresh and can give you 100%? And in the other game that he doesn't play, it's not like your team's ass. You know what I mean? We played Brentford and smacked them for 3. No, without Kevin De Bruyne. We can win without Kevin De Bruyne. We didn't have him for 6 months. So people have different opinions. Some people will say, no. I want to play Kevin De Bruyne on Thursday and play him on Sunday and just full send him. And he's then got a week off till the next game, which is Wolves, I believe.
I think so.
Wolves, I'm pretty sure it is. Or people like me, it's kind of like rest him for the game against Brighton. I think we'll win without him. And full send him away at Forest, which is probably going to be a tougher game because they're fighting to stay in the division and he'll be super fresh. People got different opinions on it. That's how I do it. But I would, you know, I'm not against anything. Let's have a look at the title race then, because obviously this is where it also gets interesting because Arsenal and Liverpool played their next games, before we play ours. So they're already above us. We do have a game in hand. They're already above us by a point, I believe it is. But they had the chance to go 4 points clear of Manchester City by the time we play our game at Brighton. Now, to be fair, we do have 2 games in hand. And if we won one and drawn one, we would be joint top, but we wouldn't be joint top because there's no such thing as joint top. Yeah, we'd be below them on goal difference.
Yes,
so that's where the goal difference
margin.
By quite a fair margin, yeah, because of course Arsenal and Liverpool's goal difference that you can see on screen now is only going to get worse in that scenario. Yeah, and ours would get slightly better, but it all depends on the one win. That means when we play Brighton, the pressure is gonna be on because we're gonna be 4 points behind. Like, let's be honest, yeah. Although Arsenal are playing Chelsea and Liverpool are playing Everton, like we all pretty much expect both of these teams to win these games, right? I mean, I'm not being funny, yeah, but like Chelsea, apparently Cole Palmer's not even fit for the game tomorrow.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Which is a rip situation. And Everton, it's a Merseyside derby, but I just don't see Everton. Whenever I watch Everton, they're always so open, you know. They're always so open. It's really not like a Sean Dyche team. So that pressure on Thursday, it's gonna be on.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. If Chelsea had Palmer, then that might be an interesting game. I can only see an Arsenal win. And I know you're ruling out Everton. There is a world where that's like a 0-0. There is a world where that can happen. It's massive if it does. I think the good thing, obviously there will be pressure, but the good thing about our players is that they have demonstrated time and time again that they do not allow the pressure to get to them at this crunch, period of the season. It never really seems to impact them. You know, the idea of like playing second and that sort of thing. They always just seem to get the job done. So that's what I'm sort of hoping will be the case, that they won't really care about the fact that what the league table says. They will know. And again, they'll know better than everyone. If we win our games, take it one at a time, then we will by definition win the league titles. Don't worry about what Arsenal and Liverpool are doing. Irrelevant. We are in charge of our own destiny. Only worry about them if we need to start worrying about them. And as of right now, we don't. Because again, if we win, that's all that matters. And if we beat Forest, that's all that matters. That will be what Pep's telling his players.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I mean, I'm looking at that Forest game. Let's have a look next weekend what the situation is. So Arsenal play. Oh wait, I think I've gone too far there. What's the situation? Where do we play Forest?
This Sunday, isn't it?
Oh, it's this Sunday. Oh, so we play last again, man. Fuck's sake.
But again, I don't know if I think as fans we get nervous about it. I don't know if the players really genuinely care about that.
Nah, I do. I think the pressure ramps up, bro. When you have the opportunity to play first, right? Because say you're playing last, right? Say you're playing last, and you already know that the other two teams have won. Like you're going into that game, like the pressure's ramped up because you have to win. You absolutely have to win, otherwise the other. Whereas you play first, you haven't watched Liverpool, you've not watched Arsenal, yeah, or whatever team it is. You've not watched them, and you're just going out handling your business. The pressure's still there because you still need to win the game, but you're not under that intense pressure where you know that you cannot let it slip because the other two teams have won. Especially if the other two teams win in style, maybe they go out there and win 2 or 3-0, 4-0, like looking good. Passing the ball around Min, and then you're like, shit, these are looking good. Now, in theory, City, like you said before, City don't even have to watch the game. City don't even have to need to look at them, but we know that that's not how we know the players are going to know the scores and stuff. So for me, I do genuinely believe that timing of the matches is important. And these next 2 games, Brighton, we play after Chelsea and Everton. Forest, we play after the Spurs and West Ham game. What I would say is as well, that Spurs and West Ham one, Don't sleep on those ones. Because, of
No.
course, North London derby is a game that they could seriously get something out of Spurs. It's at Spurs as well. And West Ham away. West Ham's a weird team at the moment. Like, they can put in a top performance and, like, compete with the very best teams, or they could just be absolutely arse. And, of course, Arsenal smacked them up a couple of months ago, didn't they? Like, 6-0. But, yeah, I'm looking at those next two. And then, obviously, Arsenal play United after that. Liverpool got Villa. That's why I'm talking about the Tottenham game, guys, yeah? Because that Tottenham game, like, that only becomes important. Well, it's obviously important, but, like, we could potentially draw or lose the game if we win our next 4, which we should do based off of the fixtures, Brighton, Forest, Wolves and Fulham. Like, we should be winning those. And, or Arsenal and Liverpool drop points. And again, I look at Arsenal's and Liverpool's fixtures. Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Bournemouth, United, Liverpool, Everton, West Ham, Tottenham, Villa.
Yeah, if they are going to drop points, you would think it's going to be in their next 2 to 3 games, surely.
Yes,
from Arsenal, Liverpool.
Which means if we handle our business in the next 4 games, we can go to Spurs and lose or draw.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Spurs. I'm not looking at Spurs thinking, oh, we never win there. We never scored a Premier League goal. Because for me, I'm thinking, well, if we handle our business in the next 4 games, it's likely. It's not guaranteed, but it's likely based off of the fixtures that Arsenal and Liverpool drop points. Do you know what I mean? I just obviously
and
if
again,
don't, then that Tottenham game becomes pretty grim.
Yeah, and as we were saying, that's why this Brighton Forest game coming up is so crucial. It's because of that context. Hopefully, they drop some points whilst we've got these games to come, and then we've got what is on paper maybe our easiest game remaining, Wolves at home. So we've got 2 tricky games, and then in theory a nice little respite, and then 2 away games, and obviously the final one. So yeah, we've obviously got to win in general, but we've also got to win for that added context as well. 100%.
Yeah, nah, defo, Lou. Nah, bro, we were meant to do this, bro. But you know what it is? It's like crack, bro. It's just like the addiction of looking, at the fixtures is unreal. Like it just every day, I crave looking at the fixtures, pointing out where teams are gonna drop points, man. You know what I mean? I really need to stop. My life was a lot easier and a lot less stressful when we was doing the one game at a time thing. Like that is the way to go. That is 100% the way to go. That question is, when do we make the game in hand? It'll be the Spurs game.
Yes,
the Spurs game is going to be the game.
An
in
ultimate
hand.
game.
Yeah, so that'll be in the midweek. That Spurs game is a midweek game in between the last game of the season and obviously the second to last. So, but hopefully, if they've dropped points, that game doesn't even become important if we handle our business. Big up to MCFC lads in the chat. Good to see you, bro. Akash says you have no idea how petrified I am for the final.
It was. I mean, I was going to say it was terrible last season, but thankfully the nerves were calmed after 12 seconds. So, but going into it, I was like, I mean, I watched it, like I did a watch along with my Man United friend fan. And yeah, going into it was awful because obviously the treble was on as well. But yeah, the idea of like losing to them in general is sickening. The idea of losing to them in a cup final is even worse. But by contrast, beating them was glorious. And when we beat them again, it'll be the same feeling of euphoria.
Very true. We'll speak about the FA Cup in a second. Let me go through some of these more comments and super chats. Big up to Danny as well. Says, I understand, LB, you're thinking about Kevin De Bruyne, but we cannot lose one match. If he rests and we lose, it's over. This is the question though, bro. This is the exact question. And, like I said, people are going to have different views on it. You know what I mean? People are going to say, just spam him out. A bit like Rodri, like Robin said before with Rodri, like we have no option but to play Rodri now in every game to the rest of the season. Some people will have that opinion about Kevin De Bruyne as well. The thing I'd say about Kevin De Bruyne is we proved that we can win games without Kevin De Bruyne. And we've rested Kevin De Bruyne. You know what I mean? When we went to Brentford and we played Phil Foden there. We went to the Bernabeu and drew 3-3 without Kevin De Bruyne. So like it just depends. It just like there's no right answer. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just like it depends on what you want to do. Do you want a fully fresh, fully fit Kevin De Bruyne for one game in arguably the harder game, which is Forest, in my opinion? Or would you rather spam him out in both and have maybe a slightly less, a less fresh, less fit, less match sharp Kevin De Bruyne, but you've got him in both games? Say there's no There's no, and an argument, by the way, to play him against Brighton is that if you play him against Brighton, you got better creativity in the team. Therefore, you could potentially be winning the game earlier, and therefore you could sub him off anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's just one of those like.
Yeah, it's hard, but conversely, you play him, it's actually a struggle for whatever reason, and then you get to the 70th minute and it's still 0-0, and then you can't afford to take him off, and then you end up playing 90 minutes. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah, of course. I'll big up to Dr. 40. He says Cancelo is so arse. Barcelona fans want us to pay them. Jeez, well, we got FFP situation, man. We can't be paying clubs for players that we already own, bro. But I spoke about him this morning, bro. I don't think anyone's buying him. I think he's going to be loaned out again.
Yeah, probably. I imagine his wages are probably a big issue as well. I imagine. And this loan is not. It's a shame because it started going so well. Like Barca fans were saying on Twitter, so I can't believe why were City fans so upset. Upset with Cancelo. Why do they want to get rid of him? And now they seem to have come to our way of thinking that actually, guys, he can sometimes be a bit of a liability. So yeah, it's almost like the Calvin Phillips West Ham loan has not done him any favors, or not done us any favors. It's like a similar thing with Cancelo, like just mistake after mistake after mistake with this guy in high pressure situations, whether it's El Clasico, whether it's a Champions League quarter final. I don't know who even wants him. I don't know who wants him, who would also be willing to pay however much we would want for him. I think he's got another 2 years left on the contract, hasn't he? So it's just getting to a ridiculous situation. We've got this asset that we just can't shift.
Yeah, which is why I'll be loaned. Because for teams around Europe or whoever, like teams will be prepared to loan him. Like you know what I mean? It's a great signing on loan, but I just don't think you'll be able to sign him. Let's come on to that FA Cup final game then, bro. For the last part of the show, guys, make sure you drop a like, by the way, on the stream if you've not done so already. 400 people tuned in. Let's get those likes to 150. Not even at 150 likes yet, guys. 30 people. Please hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you are subscribed to Nobbins, link in the title. Of course, if you do want to help support the channel, you can become a YouTube member. The link is in the description, or you can hit the join button and become a member of the channel. Help support me on this. Jack, 7 wins. A lot of people keep saying, what are you on about 7 wins? The FA Cup final, man. People disrespect the FA Cup, bro. People are like, what's 7th game? There's only 6 games left. No, there's 7 games left, including the FA Cup final. Okay, so FA Cup final. Beat them last year. We beat them twice this year, and even in the game at the Etihad, where we I think we went 1-0 down in that game, right?
Yeah.
Even then we battered them as well.
Oh yeah.
What's the biggest sort of concern we have as City fans here? Because for me, I'm looking at this saying, I'm confident, man. I'm very, very confident. Is it simply just like we just need to be wary of the counter attack? Is that just every game? Is that it? Are we just going into games now thinking we'll probably dominate the game, we'll probably create the chances, we just need to be wary of the counter attack and make sure we're clinical? Is that where we're at now? Because I don't really see, like, United aren't going to be breaking us down, are they? You know what I mean? They're not going to be pushing forward, breaking us down. I just look at this and say, it's Rashford over the top ball. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, they offered nothing at the Etihad. They had a ridiculous low probability effort from Rashford, which was probably like a 0.03 XG chance of going in. So it was like a 3% chance of going in normally, and it just so happened to go in the back of the net. Like I think he mishit it as well, didn't he? They created literally nothing. All they have, as we know, as you've discussed, is the counter attack. And we should be able to easily snuff that out, by starting a player like Walker to deal with Rashford, for example. And that should basically, in theory, limit them to nothingness. We should be looking to beat them and beat them well. Obviously, it's a derby. Obviously, it's a cup final. It's never that simple. But they are bad. They are a bad football team. So, I'm just trying to think of what other threats might they have. I can't actually think of any.
Casemiro set piece.
Oh, set pieces, maybe, sure.
Casemiro is pretty good on set pieces. Some reason people just don't mark him, and he just gets these headers, and he's very good at finishing it. So I would say set pieces for Casemiro, and just the ball in behind. But again, I think we just have to accept that's a risk of the style we play. You know what I mean? We just do. You know what I mean? Well, there's no. If we're dominating the ball, right, and we're pushing forward and trying to break them down, then naturally we are going to be high up the pitch
and pin them back.
And pin them back, and it's just it is what it is. We just have to deal with the vulnerabilities. We will create chances against them. We will. That's a big pitch at Wembley. And if Foden and Kevin De Bruyne are fit, yeah, I'd be amazed if we don't create chances. The question will come down to, are we clinical? If we're clinical, we'll win the game because we'll create more chances than them.
Yeah.
But if we have an off day, and we've had a few off days this year in front of goal, we all know that. We don't need to go into each one, but we know that we've had off days in front of goal. Then, of course, there'll be risks. But, you know, it would be poor. It would be seriously poor if we lost to them. Yes, it's a derby, as you said. Standard caveats apply. But it's about mentality going into the game. It's about how we play. And when we get the chances, you've got to put the ball in. You know, it's a simple one. And I say it every stream, and it sounds boring, man. But if we get the first goal, I'm sitting here thinking
it should become a mauling.
It should, because then you don't have to be as aggressive. You know what I mean, in your press and whatever, and stuff like that. And you know, their heads will drop, and they'll probably be thinking, you know, are we going to score 6 or whatever? If they get the first goal, like we've seen plenty of times this season, then it could be tricky. You know what I mean, you're pushing them back, and their threat of the counter attack becomes even more of a weapon. You know what I mean? Because you'll be pushing even higher. So I'm pretty confident, to be honest with you. I'm confident in going into it. We'll have a week off as well. So, you know, after the Premier League last game, we'll have a week off before we play that FA Cup final. So again, the team should be rested. Rodri should be rested, and hopefully we have no injuries. But yeah, man, I'm pretty confident. And I thought Coventry were very unlucky yesterday. You know, I've seen that offside again, man, and the line's over the guy's foot, bro. Like, they put the line on his foot. I can't believe that. I can't wait until they get this new technology next year, man. Like, I'm all for it. I'm all for this UEFA technology.
Yeah, I don't think it's arrogant to say that we shouldn't be fearful of a team who bottled a 3-goal lead to a championship team. That's just being that's not being arrogant. That's just being realistic. To be fair,
no, of course it's realistic. Yeah,
yeah. And also, and the players, obviously the players will be desperate to win because they want to win the cup, they want to win the Manchester Derby, blah, blah, blah. But also, if we arrive at the FA Cup final and we're in a fortunate enough situation where we have won the Premier League, because obviously the FA Cup final will be after the conclusion of the season, we will have the chance to make even more history, because no team in English football history has ever won the league and FA Cup in back-to-back seasons. So we would be history makers in that respect as well. So the fact we've got knocked out of the Champions League doesn't mean we still can't make history, guys. No one's ever done, as I say, you know, a double back-to-back, and we've got the addition of doing the treble in one of those as well. It's never been done before. League title and FA Cup back-to-back. So we could make even more history this season in what would be a subpar season for our standards. But if we can still do that, and whilst also doing 4 in a row, that would be, I don't know what that tells you about the rest of the league. A subpar, in my opinion, subpar City making history on 2 occasions. Hilarious. But yeah, there we go. The players will know they can make history. You are muted for me, bro.
I'm sorry. And as we keep saying on various different streams, expect City to go big this summer, because I think they know they kind of messed up a little bit last year, and you know, we're looking good, but in terms of like potentially winning the league, but you've got to go big this year. You've got to go big. What's your opinion on XG? You like XG? You like
big fan. Yeah.
Expected points is like a variation of
Indeed.
that.
I like expected points also. Yeah,
my mate's just sent me a screenshot of the expected points table,
which we are top of.
Do you want to see it?
Yeah, I have seen it, but yeah, I'll look at it again. Yeah.
We are second, but we have a game in hand. We win the game in hand.
I was going to say exactly. Yeah.
Expected, we're actually second on expected, but again, we win that. I think we go top. You know what's funny is Manchester United are 15th in the division based off of expected points, mate. And I think that's hilarious. Now, I know some people look at these stats and go, "What the fuck is this? This is shite," and it might be. Yeah, but
it's not.
Still,
it's not shite.
Laugh. It's a funny way of laughing at Manchester United. They're 15th in the expected points table, but only Burnley, Luton, Sheffield United, and Wolves are below them. That's that'd be 16th, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's horrendous.
Yeah, it's also not shite, by the way, because in general, underlying numbers will ultimately correlate to actual numbers, so they do matter a lot. And yeah, it's funny. It goes to show like how bad they truly are, and how they're actually somehow overperforming,
Yeah.
just by virtue of, I guess, like individual moments, I suppose, from the likes of Bruno Fernandes, etc.
Wow, look at this. Villa are massively overperforming.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Yeah.
interesting. As I say, some people don't really care about that, but I just thought it was pretty funny. My mate just sent me, and it was they were 15th or 16th or whatever. So that's pretty hilarious. We're gonna wrap up in a second, guys. But if you've got any questions that you want us to discuss or anything before we wrap up at 8 p.m., then fire them in right now. You don't have to be super chat. Just fire it in the chat if you want us to speak about anything in the final part of the streams before we wrap up. Big up to Danny, says take no risks. Of course, we can win without KDB, but the creativity has to be there. How many times KDB saved the team, even this season after his injury? Good for 10 points on his own. You're probably right on the points, bro. And listen, bro, just FYI, yeah, I'm not saying that you're wrong. There is no right or wrong answer to this. If we don't start Kevin De Bruyne and we draw or lose against Brighton, people are going to be saying we should have started Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, I mean, if we rest him against Brighton and we beat Brighton, and then Kevin comes in fully fresh against Forest, and he does really well against Forest, and we win against Forest, people are going to say the rest was the correct thing. So there is no right or wrong answer, and I'm not sitting here for 1 second, by the way, saying that you're wrong. My personal views would be that I think you can go to Brighton without Kevin De Bruyne and win. And I think the benefit, therefore, of having a fresh Kevin De Bruyne for the harder fixture, in my opinion, which is Forest because of where they are in the league, is more worth it. However, if
Yes.
we end up getting beat off Brighton or drawing against Brighton, I'm going to look like an idiot. I accept. But that's the game, isn't it? The game's the game. The business is the business.
I'm of the view that he can't start every single game. So I think that at some point we've got to look at a fixture to consider having him on the bench. So I would just suggest that might be a possible option.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Right, let's have a look at some of these questions. What is this? Thoughts on Liverpool having Van Dijk as player manager next season?
It's not the 70s. We don't do player managers anymore in the top
Sure.
division of England, surely.
Surely not, bro. Surely. I mean, I know they're struggling maybe to identify a manager, but apparently it's going to be this slot guy from Feyenoord. I would imagine that's highly unlikely. Are Arsenal the only challengers next season, or is there any other threats? I think so. I don't see Liverpool challenging for the title next year, and I don't think Chelsea, United, Villa's an interesting one. Do you think Villa could challenge for the title next year? Or maybe Newcastle, because Newcastle not going to be in Champions League. If they don't have to sell anyone for FFP and they can buy some players and get a better squad. Who knows? I don't think Liverpool would challenge next year, personally. I said they would this year, so if any Liverpool fans are in the chat, I'm not cooking you. I said you would this year, but I don't think you will next year. I think Arsenal are the main ones, and then maybe Villa and Newcastle if they can get some bit more investment.
I think Aston Villa are overperforming by a large margin, as illustrated by the expected points table. I'd be staggered if they were able to continue that. I don't see them maintaining that consistency. I don't think there'll be a genuine title threat from them. Chelsea, it's too soon for them. United are United. Spurs, too soon. Liverpool, you would assume, would be going through some sort of transitional situation with whoever comes in after Klopp. Like, it's obviously going to be a big step down, whoever it is. So outside of some like newcomer or outside of like some weird external situation, it should realistically just be, obviously City will be there because we're City, but it probably should just be Arsenal. Like people say Newcastle again. I've talked about this. They will be coming in a few years, but I still think it's too soon for them. They still need a bit more time. Yeah, so I see it being probably City and Arsenal at first and second next season. Realistically, across the season, it probably will end up being a two-horse race, if indeed it is a race. I think there could be a world where City actually run away with it, maybe.
I think it depends on signings.
If the signings come in, which I think could and should come in, I think there's a big chance City will run away with it. If that doesn't happen, of course, then no.
This is a grim question. A disgusting question, but we're going to ask it anyway.
Oh my God.
Jason says, if Rodri gets injured or suspended, God forbid, Do you still think we'll win the league?
So, when you said it's going to be the disgusting question, I thought, I'm sure someone in the comments asked me if I was a Tory earlier. I thought that was going to be the question you were going to bring up.
What?
Uh,
No. That's not the question. This is the question.
Yeah, if Rodri gets injured, will we win the league? For how many games? That's the question. If it's every game from now to the end of the season.
Well, suspension would either have to be a 1 game if it's a double yellow or it's a straight red is it straight red 1 now, unless it's violent conduct in which it's 3.
I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's why Rodri got done for 3 because he technically strangled someone.
Violent conduct. I'll just say this, yeah. I'll just say this. So say he gets say he gets injured right now, yeah. Say he gets injured now, so he's out for the rest of the season. You're telling me we can't go to Brighton and win? You're telling me we can't go to Forest and win at home to Wolves? So that's 3 done. There's only 3 left to the rest of the season. I just think that like the players in this team owe it to Rodri personally to go out there and not drop bozo performances and win the game without him. Like it would be poor, seriously poor of the players to be like, oh no, I don't want to turn it like Arsenal last year when Saliba got injured, and then they were all like, Saliba got injured, so we could. I don't want to be that team. I don't want to be a team where if one player gets injured or suspended, I'm well aware that it's bad if Rodri gets injured. But I don't want to be a team where if Rodri gets injured, it's like, oh, well, we're done then. No. We got Kovacic in there. Yeah? You got Nunes in there. You still got Kevin De Bruyne. You still got Foden. You still got Grealish, Haaland, all these players, John Stones. Like, you're telling me that one player means that you can't beat Brighton, Forest. Yeah, I mean, these teams. No, I'm not. I don't want to be like the Arsenal people were last year when Saliba got injured, because I thought that was an L mentality, man.
I agree. This is a squad game. The squad should be good enough to work without him for the final 6 Premier League games of the season. So I will say yes, we will still win the league.
Danny says, who are you playing next to Foden in midfield then Thursday? Bernardo, maybe, depending. Haaland, maybe out, and Alvarez up front, possibly. You know who I'm actually thinking? And this might come as a shock.
Because I want Nunes, because there's going to be a lot of space.
I was thinking Brighton are going to press.
What?
We're going to be playing out from the back, and we're going to try and break the press. If we break the press, there's going to be a lot of space for us to run into.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be great in that situation? Now, I would prefer him not to drop mega deep.
Yes.
Just in case. I kind of like him to be a little bit further ahead of Rodri. You know what I mean? And maybe Foden. But I want him on the ball where if we do manage to turn them, he can just run and do the Yaya Toure thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you have, and I actually think Bernardo might be another one that could need a rest. So potentially he might not play as well, because I think he'll go. Well, if it was me, I'd play Grealish on the left, Doku on the right. I would rest Kovacic and I'd rest Bernardo Silva and I'd play Rodri, Foden, Nunes.
I like that a lot. See, this is the way we do the show together. I like that.
Good shit. This is why we told people to invest early. Invest early. Now you get
bin stocks.
Yeah, and again, people be like, no, you can't do that. So you tell me again, Rodri, Foden, Nunes, Grealish, Haaland or Alvarez, and Doku is not capable of winning that football match.
Mm-hmm, exactly. It's 100% good enough. 100% good enough.
100%. Again, you get rest there as well to Bernardo Silva, and we'll be transitioning. It'll be mint. Right, cool. What you got coming up, Bray?
Have
you done your Grealish video?
No, I know I'm a fraud.
Sorry, I've got to play this because you know it's not acceptable.
Brother,
we're waiting for the video, man.
No, that's my bad. Apologies. Watch your space. If you're not subscribed to my channel, I will be bringing back the analysis videos. Haven't done one in a while because of a number of reasons, but hopefully I'll be back. But yeah, standard post-mortems after games. We do like a hour, sometimes 90 minutes, like Q&A on the game, that sort of thing. We talk about other things as well. We did a post-mortem for the Chelsea game before this stream, actually, for example. Invest in Elbin stocks, invest in Nobbins stocks now, or else you are a fraudster and a swine and a charlatan.
Yeah, I mean,
I told you.
Really can't disagree, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Don't do it.
By the way,
don't do it.
These people have not bought the lows. You know what I mean? If you would have bought the lows earlier on in the season, you'd be sitting on 10 times returns.
Yeah,
so
we always return the investment.
We always did. I told you guys about Tosin Coin. Tosin Coin popped off as well. A couple of people have cashed in. sending me pictures from the mansions in South America. You know what I mean? It's insane. It's insane. Right, guys, I'm going to redirect you to Football 12 Man's podcast. I'm on there now speaking about the weekend's games. I think Errol's on as well, who's on Redmen TV. And of course, you know, he'll probably be very upset given the situation at Liverpool right now. And I said, I think they might be about to enter their toxic era. That is my prediction. So yeah, there we go.
Can I just say that I've never once voted Tory in my life, guys? Please stop in the chat. Thank you. Just want to say that.
Please stop. Yeah, I don't do politics.
That's fine. I just want people to be aware. To be aware.
There we go. There we go. Right, guys, smash the like, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to Nobbins. We'll be back maybe, I don't know, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. I don't know. We'll let you know. But yeah, I'm going over to Football 12 Man podcast. I'm going to redirect you there. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.